Hi, I'm David Courtwright. In October of 2015, I organized a conference at the University of Richmond called Addictions Old and New. 9 experts addressed the topic. Each of their talks can be viewed separately. Here's a quick preview. Dr. Charles O'Brien, the keynoter, asks, what is addiction and what do the addictions have in common? O'Brien ranges from coca and gaming to opioids and alcohol. He stresses the role of medical science, which has sometimes inadvertently abetted addictions, but which has also made progress in understanding them and in identifying potential treatments.
Part of the problem of alcoholism is driven by the fact that alcohol activates these internal opioids.
Other speakers zero in on particular addictions or alleged addictions. I ask in my talk whether highly palatable foods act like drugs and whether food addiction is real. The answer to both questions is a qualified yes. What should we do about it? Look to tobacco control history, which offers clues for combating the obesity crisis and the food addiction that is one part of it. Professor Virginia Berridge looks at the definition and control of alcohol problems. She describes how alcoholism terminology and attitudes changed over time in both Europe and North America. She summarizes recent global trends, including the emphasis on reducing overall alcohol consumption that became a key public health goal after 1975. Professor David Herzberg is concerned with the United States and how prescription depressants and stimulants were regulated over the last century. Though barbiturates and amphetamines were habit-forming and toxic, Herzberg points out that, for social and political reasons, the government actually did little about them until the 1970s, and then it quickly relaxed its grip in the looser regulatory climate of the 1980s. Dr. Andrew Kolodny focuses on opioid use during and after the 1990s, when prescribing for non-terminal pain patients took off due to aggressive marketing. The result has been a steady rise of opioid addiction and overdose deaths. That is true for younger users who have turned to cheap, potent heroin, and for older users who have stayed with pills but who have often died after taking too many of them. Dependence and addiction, Kolodny argues, are not as distinct as they might seem. Professor Natasha Dow-Schul explores the world of machine gambling and how digitized devices with scientifically designed reinforcement schedules entrance players. Those who get lost in the zone of rapid machine play are easy pickings for casino operators who methodically whittle down their assets. If you thought slot machines were gambling light, think again. Robert Weiss, an expert on sex addiction, argues that the internet had a tremendous impact on compulsive sexual behaviors. As with opioids, the change came in the mid-1990s and has accelerated since. A world in which anyone can surf for porn or ask a smartphone to look for hookers is a frictionless sexual environment and an easy place to become preoccupied with the pursuit of sexual fantasies and pleasures. Professor Robert Balster shows that, in the case of tobacco, new technologies can work the other way. E-cigarettes are less harmful than regular cigarettes, yet they are also nicotine delivery devices that can hook the young. How do we frame regulations to get the harm reduction benefits of e-cigarettes while minimizing their dangers as addiction starter products? Professor Mark Kleiman addresses another dilemma. U.S. marijuana prohibition is broken and beyond fixing. Yet the state legalization schemes run the risk of increasing marijuana use, particularly heavy use, which is rising rapidly. We are lurching from prohibition to commercialization, Kleiman argues, and temperate cannabis policies have gotten lost in the process. Professor David Leary closes the conference by reflecting on the talks and inviting speakers and audience to share their final thoughts. The audience included faculty, clinicians, and students. They have their say on the technological, commercial, and regulatory roots of our many addictions, old and new.